may pinanggagalingan sila, nagsimula sila sa Davao, and nung naging presidente si Duterte, dito na sa buong Pilipinas. Next.
Nasabi mo rin po sa...
So ito, ilang mga headlines kung saan talagang alam na, no? As early as, I think this is 2016, yan. Ayan. Tapos ito, the Sir Davos of Davao. Sir Davos, ito yung sa Game of Thrones na smuggler, no? Na karakter. So siya yon. Next. Ayan, involvement in the smuggling operations in Davao. So ito naman, from the, Philippine Anti-Smuggling Group. Ayan. Presidential Anti-Smuggling Group. So, smuggling activities in Davao City, ni Paulo Duterte. So, meron siyang kapartner, itong Glenn Escandor. So, meron siyang report, may mga dero siya na ganito. So, next. Ito, may NBI, report din siya. Subject, alleged smuggling activities, intelligence report. So, ayan, sila pa rin, Glenn Escandor and Paulo Duterte, a big-time syndicate that is engaged in smuggling activities. So, this, nung pa lang, hindi pa presidente si Duterte. Incidentally, itong mga dossier na ito, ang nagbigay sa akin ito ay si late Speaker Prospero Nograles, no? So yan, apparently, and dinalidate namin ito, talagang meron siyang ganyan report. Next. Okay. Sige, please.
Totoo rin po ba na membro daw ng Chinese Triad? Ito po yung drug syndicate na international po yan. Itong si Congressman Pulong Duterte.
Totoo po yan. Dahil nung personal kami nakausap, kinubalan ko siya sa lodge namin sa Mason kasi pumasok siya at gusto siya magpa-initiate. Part of the initiation, yung hubaran ka. Nung nakita ko ang kanyang napakalaking tattoo, katulad sa tattoo ito ni Michael Yang. Then tinanong ko sa kanya bakit siya nagpatato. Sabi niya, bro, ako ay honorary member ng Samgor Triad Group.
So paano niyo po ma-describe yung relationship nitong Charlie Tan at Sammy Uy, Michael Yang kay dating Pangulong Duterte? Ano po yung pagkakaugnayan nila?
Pagkaalam ko nung nakabalik si Mayor Rodrigo Duterte noong 2001, palagi sila nag-meeting sa Hotel Elena. Itong mga triad na ito, kasama si Mayor Duterte, si Michael Yang, si Sammy Uy, si Charlie Tan. At minsan si Alan Lim, nakikita ko yan. Yung Hotel Elena is very low profile place. Pero ito ang paborito talagang hangout ng mga ito sa Davao City. Nasa lamang Davao City ito nakalocate.
So dito sa video niyan, na-mention Mr. Chairman ni Mr. Las Cañas na itong si Pulong, nakita niya yung tattoo nung nagkaroon ng initiation rites sa Mason at inadmit mismo ni Mr. Si Pulong na nga siya, member siya ng Samgor Chinese Triad Group. Next. So ito po yung sa Senate investigation naman.
Ngayon ako tinatanong ako ng ebidensya. Ang ebidensya po ng membership ng triad, yung tattoo mismo, kasi meron siyang sacred digits. Ngayon kung willing, itong si Vice Mayor Duterte, ay i-picture natin, tapos papadala natin sa USDA, para dito, tuwing ka lang naman. No way. Oh, no. Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry. Mr. Chair, no way.
Okay. So, makikita nyo, bakit? Wala naman yung tattoo na yan eh. Di ba? ano naman yung ibibigay mo yung picture sa amin? We can ask the sergeant at arms to accompany you. Kung ano naman sa likod, bibigay natin yung picture sa USDA para ma-decode kung saan faction ka. Are you willing? Are you willing to do that?
No, Mr. Chair.
No, bakit naman? Kung wala kang tinatago, kung tatulong naman dyan sa ano yan, tinagawa mo kung saan, you should not be afraid na may mapafind out dyan. Vice Mayor.
I already answered the question, Mr. Chair.
So dito nakita natin back in 2017 kung paano niya talagang binabantayan yung tattoo na yan kasi hindi rin niya pwedeng mabura yan because according sa mga traditions or rules ng Chinese triad, pag dinis-own mo sila by doing that, hahantingin ka nila. So yan po. Next, please. Okay, punta naman tayo kay Mr. Michael Yang. So, dito po, no, taken from the Quadcom, yung testimony ni Mr. Jimmy Guban. So, Manscarpio, Pulong Duterte, Michael Yang. So, doon po sa 6.4 billion peso, Shabu, Paulo Duterte, Manscarpio, Charlie Tan, among others. So, next. Ito po yung report ni Colonel Asierto na nakita na natin. Next. So, dito po, ginawa niya ng diagram, link diagram. Itong si Michael Yang, kung paano siya na-involved dito sa drug cartel. At itong report na ito ay sinubmit sa iba't ibang officials ng Duterte administration hoping itong si Colonel Asierto na na kumbaga matimbrihan si Duterte na baka hindi niya alam na drug lord itong close supporter niya, no? Nagbigay siya nito kina Secretary Guevara, Medialdea, kina Pedea Aquino, Bato de la Rosa. So lahat binigyan. Ngayon, ano ang reaction ni Duterte nung nalaman niya na may ganitong report? Next. So, ito nung 2018, meron siyang in-extend pa ni Duterte yung kontrata ni Michael Yang as economic advisor. Next. So ito yung kanyang slide, back please. Iyan yung kanyang official calling card, presidential economic advisor. So itong report na ito, pinasa ito sa PIDEA head dati na si Director Aquino, pero nung nakaupo na itong si Director Wilkins Villanueva, wala ulit, tinanggal ulit ang pangalan. Kasi dapat, may report na hindi pwedeng parang malinis siya na citizen. Pero ginagawa ni Wilkins Villanueva yung kanyang role, which is to protect yung drug syndicate. Next. So ito naman si Nicanor Faildon, na customs official, ninong niya itong ninong nung anak niya, si Michael Yang, tsaka si Duterte. Parang it's a scene from The Godfather, literally. Kaya, ganun, labas-pasok yung kanyang operations. And from what I heard, kasi yung mga nagbabantay kay Faildon, mga dating tropa namin, si Faildon din ay isa sa mga taga-corner ng lupa kay kila Alice Guo at dun sa Pampanga. Next. So ito si Michael Yang, no? Talagang ano siya, he has unrestricted access kay Duterte. Next. Yun naman si Alan Lim, no? Pag titignan niyo yung picture na yan, ay talagang similar dun sa sinasabi nilang nagkaroon ng kaso sa Cavite. Pero pag tatanungin si Wilkins Villanueva, talagang hindi yan, no? So anyway, next. So ito na ngayon. Sabi
Excuse
ni-
me, Senator Trillanes. Sorry, but please refrain from taunting
Yeah.
or issuing statements that may insult our resource persons. Ano lang, it's just a reminder. Thank you.
I submit, Mr. Chairman. Next slide. So, ito, Duterte PNP ignored intel on Michael Yang's drug links. So, yun nga ang tanong, binigyan kayo ng report, ano ang ginawa nyo? Di ba? Prinoteksyonan si, tapos siya ang kinasuhan, kaliwat kanan, at ito na, next slide. Ito po, yung reaction ni Duterte.
Tapos mayroon pa ngayon na ito daw si isang Michael Yang na drug addict daw. Michael Yang, ang ambasador ng China dyan natutulog sa bahay niya. At saka kasama yan doon sa entourage ni Premier China. May minsan yung ng laro ng pulis. Mabubuko tayo sa China dyan. He is known there sa, I do not know. That guy is, he went there almost 16 years ago. So, alam mo yan, sir, nag-DCLA yan. Lahat ng nagpapautang ng mga Chinese yan ang negosyo niya, magtayo ka ng kalaking ang bloke niyan sa noon pa, hindi ngayon. Isang bloke sa Davao, binili niya lahat. Kanya na yung lahat, puro department store. Pumunta yan siya sa Davao, sir. Nag-command conference kami, si Sid pa noon, sa Peña. Lumapit siya, di ba si command conference na sabi ko, kaya sa kanya na, sabi niya, kung gusto ba niya magpasok ako ng mga negosyante. Sabi ko, oo. Tapos dala-dala niya yung 2 bayong na cellphone para consignment lang. Talagang naghirap yan. And he became close to the kaya kapag nandyan siya, nandyan yan siya. Hindi ko talaga alam ang laro niya. It could be, sabihin mo, drug addict, drug push. Ngayon lang yan, may nilabas na dose na Sierto will expose them. Go ahead, sabi ko. And you'd be surprised. Bukuhin ka ng Chinese government yan. Kasama-kasama palagi. Yung kasama-kasama palagi ni Ambassador Xiao. Hindi mo rin maloko yan. Military yan eh. Yung ambassador natin, military yan. China. Corruption. Bakit dyan sa droga? Di, lahat na lang. Pero ngayon lang yan lumalabas nila yung si Michael Yang. Pero ang totoo niyan, sir, yung DCLA ng Davao kanya yan. Marami yan sila. Then the investors came. Puro tapos nag-divert sa Turil. Ngayon, nandoon na sa Makilala. Doon na, pumasok na yung the typical Chinese store. Pero sabihin mo, yung Michael Yang lalabas ni Sir. Hindi yan totoo.
Okay. Dito natin makikita kung paano mag-protect si Duterte ng mga kasama doon niya, doon sa sindikato niya. No? Talagang vouch niya personally. Ang signal niya dito sa law enforcement agencies na do not touch this guy, tao ko yan. Parang, pinoproteksyonan niya, ina-arbor niya. Pero may na-mention siya doon, di ba, na sa Toril yung isang negosyo, which as mentioned by Mr. Duterte, yung Toril, yung sa Dumoy, ay yung canned fish factory na eventually yung pala ay Shabu Laboratory. It may be a slip of the tongue, but anyway, ano na yun. We got more direct testimonies. Sige, next, please.
Tapos mayroon pa ngayon na
So, ito, isang article, sabi ni Duterte to police and military, why is Asierto still alive? Bakit siya gigil na gigil kay Asierto? No? Kasi nag-initiative siya, ginawa niya yung trabaho niya, gumawa siya ng dossier against Michael Yang, thinking that he was doing some good service to the country. Pero ang natisod niya ay member ng Duterte Drug Syndicate. Kaya kailangan maproteksyonan yung identity na yon at sirain yung gumawa ng intelligence report. Next. Well, ito lang yung sa, I think yung sa...
Naalala niyo pa ba, nung lahat tayo nagdurusa ng pandemic? Meanwhile, yung mga paboritong kontraktor ni Duterte na kumita, nakabili pa ng mansion sa Dubai. Diyan, mismo, sa property na yan. Here's the tea. Matagal nang magkakilala sina Duterte at Michael Yang. In fact, bago pa man maging Pangulo si Duterte, nakabisita na siya sa Xiamen, sa isa sa mga opisina ni Yang. At noong 2017, si Yang naman ang pumunta sa Davao. Ipinakilala pa nga niya kay Duterte yung ilang pang mga kaibigan niyang Chinese businessman. So these people that you see, sila yung nagtayo ng Farmally 2 years later or noong 2019. And as you can remember, noong tinamaan na tayo ng pandemic noong 2020, itong Farmally, kahit wala pang 1 milyon yung kapital, 8 billion pesos agad yung kontrata mula sa PSDBM. Care of another Davao guy, yung dating tao ni Senator Bongo, si Lloyd Christopher Lau. Ang may kontrol ng pera ng Farmally, si Lin Weixiong alias Alan Lim. Ginamit niya nga raw na dummy yung Farmally, sabi ng ombudsman. Noong 2021, nung sinusubukan na nating bumangon sa COVID-19, hindi lang bangon, kundi lipad ang ginawa ni na Yang at Lin. Pumunta sila sa Dubai. And in just 2 months, in May and June 2021, nakabili si Lin ng 2 property worth 1 billion pesos. Ang isa sa mga villa na yon, naging co-owner si Yang. Nabenta rin nila agad at kumita pa nga sila ng 317 million pesos. Alam nyo, wala namang mali sa pagbili ng property. Kung mayaman ka, go, gastusin mo yung pera mo. Ang tanong lang naman, paano ba nila kinita ang perang to? Imagine, napakaliit yung kapital tapos 1 taon lang, may 8 billion ka na. Substandard nga doon yung ilang sinupply nilang face mask at face shield. Saka parang hindi natatapos yung issue sa kanilang dalawa. Kasi nung may inismuggle na Shabu sa Pampanga last year, parang may bakas pa rin daw sila dahil interlocking yung directors ng mga kumpanya.
Yung Golden Sun 999 Realty Development, ang nangyayari po nun, si Rose Nono Lim, si Eddie Taiyang, Jack Yang, at yung Eddie Taiyang naman po, Jack Yan, nakakonect po yan sa Empire 999 kung saan po nakita yung 3.6 billion pesos na Shabu sa Mexico.
We tried to get the side of Lin and Yang through their lawyers. Pero kung ang House Quadcom nga hindi nila sinasagot kami pa kaya, hindi nga namin sila kayang mapakontempt di ba? And as usual, nakaalis na yun sa bansa. And mind you, this network of Yang and Lin is just one corner of a big universe of shady networks na foreigners daw ang nagpapatakbo. Well, it's more fun in the Philippines nga naman, di ba? Pero ikaw, kaya mo pa ba? Traumadam tayo sa chat app. Download mo na yan. That's your Inside Track this week. I am Lian Buan and join us again next time for more tea.
Next slide, please. Okay, ito na yung third or fourth player si Mr. Sammy Uy. Next. Itong si Sammy Uy ay na-declare na isa sa top donors ni Mr. Duterte noong 2016 elections. Next. Ayan, si Sammy Uy. No? Okay, next. So, ito na. I presented it the last time. Ito yung mga na-uncover namin dun sa bank documents na nakuha ko back in 2016. So, nandito po yung distribution niya. Ito po ay checks na nakapangalan, ang account na pinanggagalingan ay si kay Sammy Uy, tapos ang beneficiary dun sa mga manager's checks ay itong sina Sara Duterte, Digong Duterte, Paulo Baste at si Hanilet. So silang 5. Tapos tinignan namin yung mga dates, more or less 6 months. Every 6 months nakakatanggap sila ng yung buong pamilya ng mga 40 to 50 million pesos. So we deduce this to be a dividend of some sort, no? Next slide. So ito, yan yung mga distribution. Next slide. So yan po, nakapangalan po sa kanila yan. At sabi ko nga, since may back secrecy law tayo, may hirapan magbigay ng confirmation yung AMLAC. And by the way, I never said na itong mga dokumento na kuha ko ay galing sa AMLAC. However, mamaya lalabas dyan, ang contents nung aking nakuhang dokumento are the same as the ones na nakuha nila sa AMLAC. Next. Ito po yung admission ni Duterte.
I can explain very well legit explanation, but hindi naman ganun kalaki. And kasi uwi ako ng Davao Monday, sabi kasi ni Trillanes, nandoon siya, I requested mas mabuti daw yung abogado appear sa akin, so they can explain fully, hindi naman siya, but less than 200 million. Hindi naman ganun kalaki.
Pero magkano po lahat po?
Hindi ko nga alam eh. Sabi ko, gusto ko buksan ngayon. Wala mang opisina pala.
So, nung unang lumabas yun, dininay ng spokesman nyo. Then the following day, you admit. Ano po masabi nyo?
Kasi walang account na 200, a little lesser than 200 million.
Sir, how come yesterday you said thousands only, not reach millions? Sir, before that, you said
Hindi ko kasi maano yung ang zero. It's either may zero ba o walang zero.
Nalito kayo, sir. Nalito sa zero.
Billion na ang pinag-usapan.
So now you're confirming that those deposits are real.
Yes. Ang sinabi ko, wala akong deposito na ganun kalaki. Hindi ko sinabi na wala akong, I've said it in a different way. Wala naman akong deposito ng ganun kalaki. Kaya nag-said wala akong account.
Bakit hindi yun na ilagay sa salin?
As of yun eh. Wala na, ginastos ko na. Happy ako. A little less than a million.
So are you accepting Trillanes challenge, sir, nung sinabi mong be there on Monday?
Okay, ay di ako makapunta because I'm going to Davao. Si Panelo si Sal Panelo will be there because he is my legal counsel. Noon pa, I called him out. Attorney Panelo. They know.
The authorization.
Yes, to open
When, sir?
For Attorney
Monday
Panelo.
nga.
For Attorney Panelo.
No, when did you call the bank today?
Today.
To open it on Monday.
To open on Monday in front of Trillanes and Panelo. Huwag mo na silang pakialaman. Allow Panelo to explain first
Okay.
the legal ramifications.
So yan po, no? Umamin siya na totoo yung mga accounts. Kaya yung pag-validate nung documents per se ay basically si Duterte mismo yung nag-validate nun. At ang nangyari dun sa no nagkita kami ni Panelo dun sa BPI Julia Vargas branch, yung bank manager na nakausap namin ay ano siya, sabi niya pwede na siya magbigay ng statement of account na 6 months na transactions yung lalabas. Sabi ko, sige, that will do. Pero pinigil ni Panelo yan. He made sure na walang dokumentong lalabas on that day. And precisely, wala na tayong narinig after that. Kaya hindi niya malusutan itong issue na to every time. Sige, next slide. So, ito po, ang sabi ng Ombudsman, Duterte wealth documents from AMLAC similar to what Trillanes has. Yan po. Tapos sa kabila, AMLAC's bank records on Duterte show 1 billion flow of money from the Ombudsman. So, ano yan? Naka-document po yan. Next. Tapos, Pala suspends Deputy Ombudsman Karandang for disclosure. Wala naman nung dinisclose. Sinabi lang na similar. But he got so paranoid na the investigation is gaining some headway. Kaya tinanggal na kagad at naglagay siya ng bata niya. Next. So yan. Next. Okay, so Malacanang talaga. Yung nag-iimbestiga sa kanya, yun ang tinanggal niya. Di ba? So dito natin makikita, pagka kakampi niya, poproteksyonan, pagka kalaban or against his interest, kagaya ni Asierto at ni Karandang, hinaharas. Next. So, doon lang po, no? Doon sa, isingit ko lang, doon sa BPI branch, na yung fund manager ni Mr. Duterte eventually ginawa niyang SSS president, no? Yung doon sa BPI branch na yon. So again, the pattern is there. Pag gumawa ka ng mga special operations, ipopromote ka. Biruin nyo from a not even a branch manager doon sa BPI Julia Vargas, ginawang SSS president. So ganun siya ka-rewarded because party siya na nagtatago ng pondo ni Duterte. Okay, next si Peter Lim. So, ito po, pakinggan natin. In your capacity as PNP chief, can you rattle off kung sino yung pinakang malalaking drug lord at drug protector dito sa Pilipinas, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao?
Unang-una, Your Honor, ang pinakamalaki nasa loob ng Bilibid. Sumunod, hindi ko ma-quantify yung kanilang ranking, Your Honor, dahil nga ongoing pa yung may mga revelation na lumalabas habang merong nakukuha ng statement. Now, just like this morning, nag-surrender sa akin si Lovely Impal Adam, yung in-incriminate ni Kerwin. Meron naman sa mga additional information na sinasabi. But sa ngayon, Your Honor, consider namin yun na sa loob ng Bilibid ang malalaki. Kasama na dyan yung si Peter Lim ng Cebu na sinasabi mo na hindi nahabol.
So, dyan po, sinabi niya mismo na one of the biggest drug lords sa Pilipinas at that time, 2016, ay si Peter Lim of Cebu. Next slide. Pero ito ngayon ang koneksyon ni Duterte kay Peter Lim. Next. Ito, nung siya ay na-mention na nga, this was the height of Tokhang. Nagpapataya na yung mga suspected drug pushers, mga addicts. Pero itong biggest drug lord ay binigyan ng audience ni Duterte, no? Binigyan niya ng audience, pas titignan nyo, at the office of the PDEA Region 11, no? Davao City. So baka dito yan kay ano. Next. So, ito na naman. State prosecutors dismiss Raps versus Peter Lim and Kerwin Espinosa. So, clear. Next. Pero, nung pagkalabas ni Peter Lim sa NBI, biglang ni-restore para mahuli ulit si Kerwin Espinosa. So nakita nyo, unang finailan silang dalawa, pero dinismiss, kunyari, sa kanilang dalawa, pero immediately ni-restore yung kay Kerwin Espinosa pagkalabas ni Peter Lim. Sige, next. Tapos, again, prinomote yung DOJ prosecutor who cleared Peter Lim. Di ba? Dito, maliwanag na sa amin at that time that he was protecting a special group of people nung mga panahon na yon. Ito yung mga miyembro ng kanyang Duterte Drug Syndicate. Next. So ito, ikukuha ko lang yung mga previous na nung pinoprofile na namin siya, inimbisigahan namin siya, we came across with this, no? Next. December 11, 2009. So merong cocaine, Davao City. Next. Sige, next. So ito, ginagawang transshipment yung Davao City, yung Port of Davao, galing Malaysia, ginagawa ron Davao City, then tinatransport. This, according to our information, ito yung mga panahon na merong partnership or collaboration itong Duterte Drug Syndicate with some Mexican drug cartels kasi gusto nilang ikutan na kasi well-guarded na yung Mexican border kaya ibang ruta yung ginagawa nila. So, pagpasok dito sa Pilipinas, tinatanggal yung mga ukay-ukay, then sisiksikan ng saging para diretso sa either US or Canada. Next. So, March 24, 2014. Ito, medyo interesting ito. Next. Kasi merong nakita na mga bricks ng cocaine doon sa loob ng container van. No? So, transshipment, pumasok, pinalitan yung ukay-ukay, nilagyan ng nakita ng mga trabahante yung mga cocaine bricks, kinuha nila. Next. So, kinuha nila, ang naiwan lang 24 cocaine bars. No? So, next. Tapos, next please. Ngayon, itong si Mr. Duterte, out of the blue, nag-offer siya ng reward ng 100,000 pesos for every missing cocaine brick. No? 13 specific sila. No? PDEA Region 11 ulit ito na siguro si pa rin. Ito pa rin si Director Wilkins ito. Alam nila na 64 cocaine bricks yung total. Paano mo malalaman yon? Na yun ang total na diniliber. Kaya namomroblema si Duterte at that time kasi itong Mexican cartels pagka naburiki mo yung kanilang shipment, mananagot ka. Kaya, he went to that extent. Imagine, mayor ito ng Davao City. Dapat, you should let the law enforcement agencies do their thing. Pero hindi. Kailangan niyang hanapin yun at otherwise mananagot siya. So, next. So, sige, next. So, eventually, nakuha nila lahat. So, ano na yan? Nailabas din nila. Next. Next. Sige, next. Okay. So ito, consistent transshipment ano siya. Kaso nahuhuli siya because yung USDA meron silang information. Next. Tapos ito yan. Nung panahon ni Duterte, nung kaupo niya, talagang they ran after the different Shabu laboratories. Binasag nila lahat yon kasi yun yung local supplier. Then, so when they were done, na basag nila lahat, kaya din pinapatay yung mga chemist sa loob ng mga kulungan para wala nang gagawa ng shabu. At nung natapos yon, ito na, pumapasok na yung bulto-bulto record-breaking importations. Next. So yan, yung 4.3 billion. Next. Yung 6.8 billion. Next. Ito pa. Nung sabi nung shabu, nung PDEA, na may shabu yung magnetic lifters, itong si Duterte, ay sabi niya, pure speculation lang yon. Bakit? Kasi kay Michael Yang na shipment itong mga magnetic lifters. So, next. Ayan. So, kahit yung mga K9, sinabi na drugs yun, sabi ni Duterte, hindi yan drugs. Sige, next. So, 11 billion. Next. 1.8 billion. 5.1 billion sa Bulacan. So, ito lahat ng mga record-breaking shipments ni isang pangalan from DPDEA. Kung sino ang nasa likod nito, hindi nila masabi. Tuloy-tuloy ito. Tapos, itong mga nahuhuli, kunyari, eventually, nare-recycle, kaya umabot, nagkaroon ng yung 990 kilos na shabu na inimbestigahan din ng Quadcom. So, that's all, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, salamat, Senator Trillanes. Now, we have a list of the members who wish to interpolate. In fact, yung iba, umalis na nga yata. But those that have stayed and patiently waited for this opportunity, I'd like to call them. First to interpolate.
Mr. Chair, if I may, because the Dangerous Drugs Board is here, they wanted to present 2 minutes or 3 minutes presentation with regards to dun sa...
Is this in relation?
Yeah, in relation.
Sa
Kasi
presentation?
former Senator Trillanes were mentioning that the war on drugs, fake, no? And in here, meron po yung PSRSD, the Policy Studies, Research and Statistics Division of the Dangerous Drugs Board, which conducted a survey 2012, 2004, 2008, 2012, and 2015 nationwide about drug users.
Sige,
Makita po natin, actually we discussed this in the Committee on Public Order last week, and we have decided to elevate this to here in Quadcom because we believe that kailangan po natin makita ang mga drug users sa buong Pilipinas based on the National Household Survey that they conducted since 2004. So maybe let's give them a time to present it, Mr. Chairman.
Sige po. DDB, is this an annual survey that you conduct?
No, sir. We conduct it every 3 years.
Every 3 years.
Yes.
So the last would be?
The last one was in 2023. Yung recent lang po.
Okay, sige po. Okay. Is that a short presentation, ma'am?
Yes, yes, sir.
Sige, please proceed.
Okay. Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Co-Chairpersons, distinguished members of the House of the Representatives, colleagues in public service, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I am Rebecca F. Arambulo, the officer in charge of the Policy Studies, Research and Statistics Division of the Dangerous Drugs Board Secretariat. Representing the PSRSD, I am honored to contribute to this committee meeting. Guided by its mandate, the board adopts a health and science-based approach to leading demand reduction programs through policies, programs, and strategies. The division leads a data gathering initiative to produce the National Household Survey Report. We have completed 6 national surveys, namely in 2004, 2008, 2012, 2015, 2019, and 2023. These surveys aim to estimate the number of current drug users using the face-to-face interviews with a representative sample of the general population. The survey gave us the measure of the extent of drug use and help us understand the nature of drug use in the Philippines. On the side of policy making, the surveys help us assess and improve our current demand reduction strategies. At this point, may I turn over the floor to my colleague, Mr. Michael Miatari, to present the figures for the appreciation of this honorable committee.
Good evening, honorable chairpersons, members of the Quad Committee. Allow me to present to you the summary of the population projection of the current drug users based on the conducted National Household Survey on the patterns and trends of drug abuse. As shown on the screen, from 2004 to 2023, starting in 2004, we have a total of 6,765,773 total population of current drug users. In 2008, there was a 74.59% decrease with a total of 1,718,855 total estimate number of current drug users. In 2012, there was another decrease at 23.25% with a total amount of 1,319,135 current drug users. In 2015, there was a slight increase at 33.9% with a total number of 1,755,654 current drug users. And in 2019, there was a slight decrease at 4.59% with a total number of current drug users at 1,675,122. And this is the latest data that we have based on the recently conducted 2023 National Household Survey on the patterns and trends of drug abuse. We have a total of 1,479,131 estimated current drug users with a 11.70% decrease.
So in other words, ito po yung ginawa nyong survey. At sa survey nyo, pakibalik nga yung pakibalik lang para at least maintindihan ng namin So nung 2004, nag-survey kayo sa buong Pilipinas. Ang lumabas sa survey nyo ng mga drug users is 6.7 million. Is that correct?
Yes, Your
Tama
Honor.
po 'yun. At noong 2008, nagkaroon po ng malaking kabawasan sa mga drug users sa buong Pilipinas kasi naging 1.7 million na lamang. Mamantanong ko, anong naging reason bakit bumaba mula 2004 to 2008 na naging 6.7 million ay naging 1.7 million? What are the interventions that was done?
Yes, Your Honor. The decline of the drug use statistics is best explained as outcomes of successes in adopting international control frameworks and cooperation, sound policy making and implementation of the national drug strategies, and a wide array of drug demand reduction efforts for the general public and targeted population. This strategy was adopted to take people away from the lure of drug abuse, and the key components of this drug demand reduction strategy are the following: preventive education, research, treatment and rehabilitation, and of course, local and regional cooperation. The implementation of the drug-free workplace program, we have the random drug testing in schools, and for those securing firearms as well as driver's licenses. The DDB was also institutionalized the Integrated Drug Abuse Data Information Network, which is the system for reporting data on clients undergoing treatment and rehabilitation. This system aims to have a uniformity and clarity in data collection. We have also implemented the Barkada Contra Droga program of the agency.
So in other words, ma'am, yung pong programa na inilunsad ng Dangerous Drugs Board ay naging epektibo. Kasi from 6.7 million, naging 1.7 million.
Yes, sir.
At kung titingnan po natin yung graph, no? From 1.7, mas bumaba pa siya ng 1.3 noong 2012.
Your
Now,
Honor.
tanong, bakit ng 2015 umakyat siya ng 1.7? Pero hindi naman siya ganun kataas ang pag-akyat. Anong reason?
Mr. Chair, we note that the 33% increase from 1.32 million in 2012 to 1.76 million in 2015, the trend is supported by the rise in the number of admissions to the treatment and rehabilitation centers for that period. Ibig sabihin po nito, Mr. Chair, is mas nag-i-increase po yung accessibility ng ating mga drug abuse treatment and rehabilitation services. And based on our preliminary analysis, the increase may be explained by the increased trafficking activities during the period, not just on the local, but also on the international context. Trafficking networks were observed to be more sophisticated, using technology, cryptocurrency, and the darknet for illicit activities.
Okay. Pero nung 2016, no, nung naupo na po yung former president, 1.7 yung ating barometer ng mga drug users coming from the year 2015. Then suddenly there were a pronouncement that 4 million yung pong drug users sa buong Pilipinas. Pero kung titingnan mo yung graph na yon na ipinresent nyo, pakibalik. 2015, 1.7. 2019, 1.6 million drug users. Hindi ko ata makita yung 4 million na drug users that was mentioned by the former president during the time of his assumption as a
Your
president.
Honor, we
during that time.
clarified that the 2016 figure did not originate from the Dangerous Drugs Board National Survey. The DDB issued only figures from the 2004, 2008, 2012, 2015, and 2019 surveys as our reference data to provide the estimated number of current drug users in the country.
Correct mo bang sabihin that during that time, sino bang chairman ng DDB during that time?
I think that was
Benjamin
Reyes. Yes.
Yes, di ba nagkaroon siya ng pronouncement na 1.8 lang? Dito
Yes,
na kinuha yon.
Yes, sir.
Dito yung survey na kinuha ni Benjamin
Yes, sir.
Reyes.
That is in 2015 po.
And he was removed because of that. Because of that pronouncement.
Yes,
Am I
sir.
correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr.
Because
Chair.
the former president and I think the PIDEA, ang pronouncement nila was 4 million.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Yun, kinaklarify lang natin yung presentation ng Policy Studies, Research and Statistic Division of the Dangerous Drugs Board. So, ngayon, ang mga drug users sa atin, in the last survey, 1.4 million.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, in relation to
Congressman Abante.
the question of Congressman Fernandez, I'd like to find out how accurate is your survey?
Mr. Chair, basing on the methodology of the conduct of the National Household Survey, there is a 95% level of confidence established on the conduct of the household survey. And there is part of the implementation of the household surveys to ensure that there is a coordinated mechanism with the Philippine Statistics Authority for the vetting of the survey methodology as well as the instruments to be used for the before the conduct of the household survey.
That's 95%. So
Yes.
therefore, the fact that during the former president's time, more than 30,000 people were killed, the war on drug was not actually that effective, considering all the killings done. Am I right?
Mr. Chair, on the DDB's standpoint as the policy and strategy formulating body, there was a downward decrease in the current user prevalence rate, and this could be attributed on the demand reduction strategies, which form part of the overall national strategy, which provides a balanced approach on the implementation of the programs and strategies. As for the
You're not actually answering my question. There was a slight downtrend, okay? Therefore, my question is, the war on drugs of the former president, where more than 30,000 were killed, was not that effective. Yes or no? Yun lang ang sagot yan eh.
Mr. Chair, on the
Coming from your statistics,
we clarify, Mr. Chair, that the data presented on the National Household Survey is the current drug user data. But
yes. Still, you're not answering my question. The thing is, according to your data, there was only a slight decrease of the drug users in 2019. All right. Therefore, my question is, despite the killings of more than 30,000 during the time of the former president, the war on drugs was not that effective.
as reflected, Mr. Chair, yes po.
Very good. Very good. So that is what I would like to just tell our people, no? Despite the fact that you killed more than 30,000, yet there was only a slight downtrend in the data that you made. So therefore, let me just tell our people here from the PIDEA. Kita mo ha, General Wilkins, look at that. The PIDEA yan. Di ba? Kayo ang pinakaano sa drugs niyan. Oh, sa dami ng mga pinatay nung panahon ni Pangulong Duterte, panahon mo, General Wilkins, panahon ng iba, naging PIDEA Director General, ay hindi masyadong epektibo ang nangyari sa war on drugs. According to that statistics. Tama ba ako, General Wilkins?
Yun yung lumalabas, Mr. Chair.
Yun yung lumalabas. Okay, salamat po. Yun lang po.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, may I ask some konti?
Sige po. Congresswoman Castro.
So, ewan ko lang kung ang gets ko 95% no accurate. So, ibig sabihin po yung margin of error. What's the margin of error?
For the 2015
National Household Survey, we have a plus minus negative 1.41% of the margin of error. Okay, all throughout the statistical year. Yung
Yes,
sa
for
survey.
2015, Your Honor.
For 2015. Kasi
Yes po.
parang hindi ko lang talaga magets, Mr. Chair, yung biglang baba no, noong 2004. So, sinasabi kasi nung dating Pangulo, si Mr. Duterte, one of the reasons po no, ng drug abuse, drug pushing, economic. So, I will relate that to economic situation that time. So, ano po yung kaibahan ng 2004 up to doon sa kahit na nung period ng 2016 or 2015 to 2019? Mayroon ba
Kung yung ibig niyong sabihin doon, Your Honor?
the economic situation of our country? Kasi nire-relate lagi na ang dahilan daw ng ng mga drug users, pushers ay yung tungkol dun sa economic problem. Talaga naman problema pa rin yun. So is there a relationship?
Ang kinukuha po ng survey is on the use. Yun lang po ang kinukuha po namin dito sa ating survey.
So
Use
yung
of
statistics
drugs.
lang ng mga
Yes.
users.
Yes po.
So maganda ring mapag-aralan po yung mga dahilan. Kasi kung sinasabi niyo po yung mga interventions na ginawa from 2004 to 2008, bakit bumaba radically ng 74%, na kung yun, di po ba kayo nagkaroon halimbawa ng kayo yung yung policy making ng PDEA. So hindi niyo po ba ito na-suggest halimbawa sa nung dating presidente o yung administration para gawin yung intervention na sinasabi nyo doon sa 2004 na bumaba siya noong 2008?
Actually po, lang po naman din, ang DDB is two approach po ang ginagawa natin. We have the drug demand reduction, and the other one is the drug supply reduction, which is a balanced approach po. So as we provide drug prevention programs, ang ating law enforcement naman po is on the drug supply reduction pillar. So yun po yung ginagawa po nating approach.
Okay. So last question na po. Bumaba na ba yung supply at this point po?
I think the most, ang makakapagsagot po niyan is our law enforcement agencies, since they are the ones that provide the data on this.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Meron ba ditong law enforcement agency? PNP or
So thank you.
wala na? Wala na pong PNP dito, Mr. Chair? Wala na.
Wala nang sino in particular sa PNP, Congresswoman Castro, you'd like to?
Kasi tinatanong ko, Mr. Chair, bumaba na ba yung supply from 2016 to 2023 based dun sa survey? So sabi nila, law enforcement daw yung mga kaalam.
To clarify po, Mr. Chair, hindi po hagip sa household survey po yung enforcement data, which includes po yung seizures. So we best recommend po that this question be coursed through to our law enforcement agencies. Thank you.
Anyway, Mr. Chair, wala na yung PNP. Sila na lang tanungin ko later. On the next meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Congresswoman Castro.